Hello, everybody, and welcome to TVE versus Marvel and DC Episode 3. Today we're going to be talking about some episodes of The Flash, Shield, and Arrow. So this is going to be the third episodes of The Flash and Arrow, the fourth episode, I believe, of The Shield, and then we're also going to be talking about the Jessica Jones trailer. So we're going to start things off by talking about The Flash. So, Will, run us down. What happened on The Flash this week?
Um, let's see. What did happen? Was this the episode with the guy made of sand, or could turn into sand?
It was
No.
cold in his
Yeah. This was the Daddy Issues episode.
The dad. Oh, that's right. Okay. Yep, this was the Captain Cold episode. Okay. Ooh, had to refresh my memory there. Yeah, I gotta say, nice to see Captain Cold again. Wentworth Miller did an excellent job as always with this character. I think Wentworth Miller just loves doing this too much because he always like really hams it up when he does this character.
It felt like a lot of setup for Legends of Tomorrow.
That's what this is a setup episode for Legends of Tomorrow. You can tell they've been doing a lot of setup with that. Arrow this week also had some setup for Legends of Tomorrow, so they're building to that series pretty obviously. As I say, this was a pretty decent episode. Nothing amazing, really. Other than the fact that
Starts out as a bastard.
Yeah. Other than the fact that if you love Wentworth Miller and if you love his interpretation of Captain Cold, then you're probably gonna love this episode.
And if you like the kind of anti-hero hero dynamic kind of thing, like you'd have in something like with Angel and Spike and on Angel or something, you know?
Yeah,
you kind of get that dynamic a little bit here with Flash and Captain Cold.
I actually like that because I feel like this is the first time they've successfully executed that in regards to Captain Cold's character. Because I feel like they've been moving in that direction, but this is the first time it ever starts to feel like he's a lot more ambiguous and not just straight up villainous, crazy evil.
Right, me too. I thought this was the first time they cemented it that he is more of an ambiguous character than they let on, because previously, I know they've been building to it, but previously they played it just straight villain.
Yeah.
And yep.
Villain with a code, and now it's like anti-hero.
And now it's anti-hero, to the point where at the end Barry is musing that he is going to become a hero. In fact, Barry's sure of it.
Another big part of this episode is Snark's sister, who I don't think she's ever played off as well as she has in this episode before. Before she all just seemed kind of like an annoying tack-on character.
Yeah.
And then this episode, like she served a plot purpose, but you also start getting this kind of dynamic between her and Cisco that was kind of fun.
Yeah. Again, now they're playing it like in her initial appearance, she pretended to be attracted to Cisco to get into the. Now they're kind of playing it off like that's a genuine attraction. That wasn't just her faking it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird. But
it's cute though, because it's kind of like he doesn't know if he can trust her or not, and she obviously knows that. It's still kind of playing on that a bit, but more like in a fun way now than like as a way to manipulate him.
Right. Or like in a fun way. And again with her, they also she's not all bad either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Kat, did you have any other thoughts on this episode, or?
I don't know. I was trying to think when I was watching this, because I think what they did for Captain Cold and the relationship with Barry was valuable, and I think that it was solid. But I was thinking during the episode that this show has comic book elements that I find really off-putting, and I'm trying to put my finger on why. Because I love comic book elements and like every other thing that I watch, like X-Men, MCU, like the rest of Arrowverse. I love this stuff. And I think like one of the problems, for instance, is I find the whole Cisco needs to name everyone really cutesy. Because I was thinking about that conversation, like the conversation where she's like, "Why haven't you given me my own name?" And it's like, why does everyone have to have their name? I don't know. Anyway, I realize that's a bit of a tangent, but I was trying to think about that this episode because I don't know. I really struggle with problems of logic. Like
Oh
during the
yeah.
episode with the sand guy, they went out of their way at the top of the episode to say he's not made of sand, and then the way they stopped him was by hitting him with lightning to glass. Except he's not made of sand, so he wouldn't have turned to glass. And in this episode, got them through it. He got them through whatever that room was by freezing lasers, and I just went, "Oh, come on!" Like, I am the worst sciencey person possible, but that's just ridiculous. Lasers are not a physical thing; they're light.
Yeah, the second they'd break, if they did freeze them somehow, the second they broke them, there'd still be a laser there.
Like, and maybe I could go, "Oh, it's once a week," or I mean, like it happened once and it never happened again, whatever. But I feel like these logic problems are happening on a weekly basis, and they're driving me crazy.
Yeah, there definitely are weird logic leaps you have to make when you watch The Flash. In particular, even more so than any of the other kind of comic book series that are on TV.
So,
Well, maybe not as many logic leaps as like Heroes. Heroes is probably worse. But,
Heroes had different problems in terms of its logic.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Heroes
sure.
wasn't trying to be pseudoscientifically based.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, when you have scientists explaining something and it's just pure nonsense, it's kind of like, I don't know. Yeah.
The quibble quarks have gone all quibbly, and now the universe is going to explode.
1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah, but somebody just said that like randomly. I'm like 21 gigawatts.
So there's one other thing to talk about in this episode, and that was the final scene, which is we got to see Dr. Harrison Wells.
Oh my god. I was freaking out. I was like, squeeze!
Do you think this is Harrison Wells proper, or do you think this is like in Earth 1? This is Harrison Wells like co-opted by...
No, because that would just be a rehash of season 1. It's got to be Harrison Wells proper. And we know, based on what Albert Thon said last season, that Harrison Wells he was into like creating the particle accelerator and stuff. So clearly, I don't think it's unreasonable to expect that Harrison Wells would be interested in multiverse, the person himself, not the imposter.
No, we gotta admit, this is still Earth 2 Harrison Wells, even if it's not co-opted. So it still stands to reason he's possibly a different character than Earth 1 Harrison Wells. So we don't, it's still an unknown. We don't know his disposition, whether he's good, whether he's bad.
He could be Zoom for all we know.
He could be Zoom. Again, no.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
No, there's no way he's Zoom. There's no way.
No way.
That'd be weird if it was like, it actually is Harrison Wells, but he is Zoom too. So Earth 1 had somebody take the identity of Harrison Wells, and he was the Reverse Flash. And then you have Earth 2, Harrison Wells, the actual Harrison Wells, and he's Zoom.
Please, no. No, that would be really, really redundant. I don't
But
think
we don't even know. There's not even any indication that Zoom is from Earth 2. We don't know where Zoom came from.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
We're just assuming he's from Earth 2. But everyone he's been bringing over is from Earth 2.
Yeah.
My sister's theory that I really like is she thinks maybe it's Barry.
Oh, like the version of Barry from...
Yeah, Earth 2 Barry.
so cool.
That would
Barry,
be so
Barry
cool.
with the mustache.
Yeah, right. That would be so cool.
But like, think how what Grant Gustin could do with that. I think it would really stretch his muscles in really fun ways.
Well, he played kind of a villainous character for a while on Glee before he got cast in The Flash, where he was like pseudo-villain, because Glee, they're not really villains, they're just like mean people.
Yeah.
But he was like a jerk in that, so I mean, yeah, I could see him kind of playing a jerky character.
That would be
So.
fun.
That would be fun. Yeah, that's a really cool idea that turns out to be Earth 2 Barry. Because you're thinking, Barry Allen in Earth 2 obviously isn't the Flash, so what's he doing? Yeah.
He's just hanging out with his dad.
Yeah, just hanging.
Earth 2's Barry isn't abandoned by his father.
Yeah.
For no logical reason.
His Earth 2 father who didn't just say, "Hey, I gotta take off now."
I gotta go out for a pack of smokes.
For me right now, so I need to leave town.
He's like, hey Barry, now that you've gotten me out of prison, I need to get a pack of smokes.
Yeah, that was not a well executed moment.
No, it was not.
That's something that Will and I on I think both of the past 2 episodes have gone like off on about that scene and how bad it was.
We are never. Yeah, that is going to be infamous in Flash television lore now.
Yeah, so bad.
Yes.
Let's move on though. Let's talk about Marvel's
It's almost as
Agents
bad
of
as that
S.H.I.E.L.D.
episode of Arrow last season where Roy and Oliver were fighting and Roy got knocked out and then Oliver defeated the villain and left and then you didn't see Roy again for the rest of the episode. He just got left knocked out in the middle of like some parking lot.
Wait, which episode was that? I'm trying to...
I forget the exact episode, but it was one of the episodes last season.
Was it early? Because I do remember there were a lot of early episodes last season where, like, Rory is easily dispatched by the villain every time they go out into the field, and
Roy just had a weird
what?
place in the entirety of the last season.
You know what?
I liked his exit. I really liked Roy's exit. I thought they did that really well.
Yeah, I thought they handled that really well.
I just mean like in general through the season, even before that. It's like he'd just kind of be there and then he wouldn't.
You know what? It was the episode where
had a harder time figuring out what to do with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the episode where Ray Palmer first showed up in the Out of the Suit. And like he was going after Oliver because of this misguided whatever.
Yeah.
And so he had that fight with Oliver and Roy and he knocked out Roy and then Oliver like his suit malfunctioned or something and Oliver was like, "Okay, well, that's that." And then they leave. And then Roy's just left knocked out in this place, and he wasn't seen again or mentioned again for the entire episode.
It would have been funny if, like, throughout the episode there'd be like an action scene, and you know how it'll cut back and forth between, like, the Arrow running and dodging arrows, and like Felicity yelling out advice or something, and it would be like cutting back and forth like that, and then it would cut to him just like still knocked out.
Yeah.
That'd have been funny, but people would have probably not enjoyed that bit of humor. Let's move on now and talk about Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, personally for me, I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now is the best of the 3 shows we talk about. It's just killing it this season.
It certainly is running on all cylinders right now.
Yeah. I completely agree.
The one thing that's bothering me on S.H.I.E.L.D., though, is this relationship between Coulson and Rosalind and this other organization. It just doesn't seem very believable because it's like they back down because Coulson offers them something even better. But he's like offering before it was a bartering chip. Like, basically kind of helping at the same time saying, you need to do things better.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to clarify whether or not the ACTU is going to turn out to be good or bad guys. Like if we should expect to count them to be able to count on them as allies, or if they're ultimately going to turn on them.
Yeah, I think they need to clarify that and define the ACTU better, because so far they haven't done it. And it's frustrating to me. It's because they keep tipping towards stereotypical evil government organization or actually good guys. And then it wobbles back and forth constantly.
They probably want it to be ambiguous.
Yeah.
So one really cool thing we got this episode was that they tracked down a computer scientist guy or whatever who has like an allergy to Inhumans.
He's an Inhuman with an allergy to other Inhumans.
That's his power.
That's just, yeah. What a great power.
Powers tend to be a lot more sporadic and occasionally kind of crappy.
Yeah.
And yet Zachary Levi would still shoot him in the head.
I know. You're allergic to other Evos. That's a dangerous power that can't be allowed to exist.
But that kind of gave us a little bit more insight into this big hulking beast Inhuman that's just going around killing us. And we even got to see kind of a cool scene where he jumped down on top of the transport truck and blew the top off. And
I was kind of disappointed we didn't find out more about him this episode, other than he transforms from like a human to that beast. But we didn't find out any more about like what his motives are. Or
we kind of did, because he thinks that he's doing something that's necessary.
Right.
And then the technician described him as, his wording was sending us back where we belong.
Right.
Yeah.
Made me wonder if whatever he does doesn't necessarily kill them, is so maybe like send them somewhere like, I don't know, the planet where Simmons was stranded or something.
The tech described it as merciful, but then when he was killing the tech, he said, "I'm not merciful. I'm necessary."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like we've gotten just enough, because I feel like we don't need to. They're just kind of slowly giving us more and more information.
Right. I know. I'm just greedy for information.
Has a regular human form and is probably someone we already know. I feel like that's pretty big.
Oh, what if Lash is actually the head of the ACTU?
I have to admit, the prevailing theory I've seen is that he's Andrew, which I think could work and might not. But
Right.
Andrew's whole thing about he disappeared for a while does make me think that he turned into an Inhuman. So it's not implausible that he's Lash.
Right.
Could be. And there's lots of different things that could be going on there. I mean, it's a human form, and we saw kind of his shadow transform. It's a cool transformation scene, kind of out in the, out in the corner of your eye, you see it. Or, Daisy, Skyzy sees it out of the corner of her eye, kind of, his shadow transform.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I just thought that whole scene was really cool, just to see, like, him just drop down and just dominate the whole crew,
Oh, yeah, that scene was really cool. He seems to, like, he's got to have some kind of inside knowledge from somewhere, because he knew exactly where that truck was, where it was headed. Like, he attacked that truck mid-transport, so he had to have known of it and where it was going. Either that, or he just has that good of a built-in tracker.
In Hudar.
No, there's going to be a logistical explanation.
He has in Hudar.
In Hudar.
No. But just briefly saying, in the Andrew's last 3, it would make sense, because Andrew's in with Shields.
Yeah.
It would.
I don't know. We'll see.
But Andrew, that's May's ex-husband, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the implication now is that he's dead because Ward killed him.
But we didn't see a body.
We saw a foot of a body.
We saw a foot of a body, and then the place
And we
exploded.
saw blood, and the place exploded.
Was running away looking terrified or something. So I don't think we're going to
didn't
find
have
out
any
for a
of the
couple
other.
weeks.
He didn't have any of the other of his men with him.
Oh yeah, right.
Exactly. So something went down there that I don't believe for a second that he's dead because they didn't even show his body.
Right.
Yeah. That's kind of the rule of thumb, right? You don't see the body, they're not gone.
I did really like, because I really liked the way that wound out because, first of all, I didn't expect the actual confrontation with Ward to happen for a long while, so I was pleasantly surprised it happened in this one. But what I liked even more was the moment Von Starker's son went after Andrew, it was clear Andrew's life was going to be on the line in some major way. I liked the way they wrapped Hunter up in that and made him do the selfish thing at the end there and maybe a potential...
Oh, I love that he did the selfish thing at the end.
Yeah, that's going to cause huge conflict between him and May, and I think it's going to be interesting.
I really love that they didn't go the happy route with that, whereas Hunter decided to give in, and... Yeah.
Well, this could also be...
This is much more delicious now.
Right? And I think it also works for Hunter's character because Hunter is clearly going off the rails here, and I like that part of that is he's sweeping May up, and alongside that, like, part of the consequences is he's starting to hurt other people.
Right.
And this could also play into the Mockingbird spinoff that's gone in and out of development like 6 times.
I don't want it to happen until Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ends because I love Mockingbird on this show.
Right.
Yeah.
Is Mockingbird still last I heard it was back on. I haven't heard anything else about it since.
I think it's still back on. I think that's the last we've heard.
Yeah.
But who knows?
It's been a while, so who knows?
They just change their mind every day.
It doesn't look like they're building to anything. So far.
That's okay. They don't need to because they have plenty else going on right now.
And we got to see in Simmons' story, we got to see the confrontation between Fitz and Simmons about Simmons needing to go back to the island.
Oh yeah.
She's like, I have to go back.
You have to go back.
We're already gonna get it. The story of the next episode. I really appreciated that. Like, I seriously watched away from this episode going, that was a fantastic episode. And I think every single one of their major storylines is clipping along at such a good pace. Like, Simmons is already rescued. Now she wants to go back. And now, like, 5 episodes in, we're already getting the story of what happened to her instead of, like, dragging it out for her.
Right. She's finally opened up to Fitz, which I thought they were going to drag out further. But she's opened up to Fitz, told Fitz she wants to go back, and it looks like she's prepared to tell him what happened. And now
supposed to be the next episode, apparently, is going to be her story.
And now I guess they're going to be prepared to go back and explore this alien, which I'm excited to see. I'm excited to know what happened, what it's like, see what happens when they go back. That's going to be really cool.
Well, that was the coolest mystery opened up this season.
Yes.
When we found out, thankfully, I had predicted before that, they were going to have Dark Simmons, and I was like, please don't, I don't want it to happen. I just see it happening. And then thankfully it just did not do that. And it ended up being with this monolith device being a portal. And that reveal in the first episode that, like, Simmons was on this alien world was, like, the coolest part of that episode.
Right.
It's like that, like, okay, this is cool. We got this.
Evil Simmons would have been super lame.
Yeah.
Compared to what they're giving us now.
Yeah. So I'm so happy that I turned out to be wrong on that one. So I'm really excited to see more of this world and what it means. But yeah, it was great episode through and through. Right up to the end. So yeah.
I do love Coulson's relationship with the head of the ACTU. I think they play off of each other really well.
I think the actors play off each other well. I just don't. I don't buy like Coulson's value to her.
Right.
You know,
No,
like
I get that.
if she was complying to what he had been saying from like the first episode of the season, which is we need to work together. If she had been compliant on that, then I would understand his value to her. But the fact that she's resistant to that makes me go like, well, what is his value to her then? She doesn't even want what he has to offer.
I feel like that's kind of the point, though, because in the premiere they went out of their way to say these are all the other people she's pretended to be. Like I don't think we're supposed to trust her, and I think maybe there's a degree to which we're supposed to understand that Coulson is maybe trusting her more than he should.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see. I just they've set up breadcrumbs, and I have total faith that this show is gonna follow through on them at some point.
Yeah, I mean it's going along right. It's doing everything I would hope it would do, which is like it's not holding on to like the kind of dumb like little emotional cliffhanger things that like in the first season would have gone on for like 10 episodes are now like resolved like instantly.
Yeah.
So everything's clipping along. It feels good.
That first half of that first season, that was a chore to get through.
Yeah.
The show has gotten much, much better since.
Really
I'm
has.
so glad it has.
Yeah. I'm definitely super excited about that. So, let's talk about something else in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just this last week, we finally got the debut trailer of Jessica Jones. When we've had little teases before, but we finally got like the legit trailer. Amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
So good.
Better than the debut trailer for Daredevil.
Oh yeah.
The show looks better than Daredevil.
Yeah, and from people who have seen the first episode, which was shown at New York Comic Con, it seems to be almost universal adoration for at least the first episode of Jessica Jones, which with Daredevil it seemed to take like into like the second or third episode for people to really get hooked into it.
Right.
This seems to be like right off the bat people are loving it. So I mean, it's got less of a job to do than Daredevil. You got to give Daredevil credit for like establishing this whole different kind of tone within the MCU.
Right.
That took some work and stuff to do, but so it's kind of piggybacking on that in a sense. But man, could not be more excited about this. November 20th. Not only are we getting that, but we're also getting The Man in the High Castle starting up. Like both of those full season dumps on the same day. So I think from that day, I'll just kind of disappear into a shell for a while. But yeah. Looks so good. So before we started this podcast, Kat watched it. So what are your kind of reactions right off the bat?
I think it looks. I've heard and seen it described darker than Daredevil. Trailer makes me really excited. I'm excited we're getting our first of the Defenders, and only the second MCU property to have a female lead. But most of all, I'm just like, oh my gosh, David Tennant's gonna be playing a villain. Like he's my favorite doctor, so I'm torn between being traumatized at seeing him playing a villain, but excited because I think David Tennant's a fantastic actor, and I think it's going to be amazing.
Oh, and this trailer.
Oh, and they're doing so much with him too.
A perfect job setting him up as the creepiest villain ever. Like I got chills. I was like.
Yeah, when he lets himself inside that guy's house, you're like, oh, that's kind of creepy. And then you see the little girl, like, right before the door closes, and you're like, what's going on here? Like, this just got, like, 10 times creepier.
Yeah, he's going to be amazing in this role. When I'm done with the show, I might have to go rewatch his seasons of Doctor Who to recover or something.
Right.
Yeah, I'm way excited. I think the trailer looks fantastic.
Yeah, this is fantastic. This is going to be amazing, I think.
It's going to be so exciting, and it will add to our conversations every week here.
Yes.
So yeah, I cannot wait. We'll have to kind of set up like how many episodes we're watching a week and what we're doing so that we can figure out how much we're going to discuss per episode when that happens.
You want to just do it like one episode a week, like we do with all our other shows? I mean, I know it'll be like difficult to resist the urge to just binge them all in one go. But,
We should keep it. We should keep it down. I'll probably binge it all anyways, but we should probably try to keep it the discussion at either 1 or 2, maybe 2 episodes a week.
2 episodes a week.
Something
I
along
think
those
that sounds
lines.
reasonable. Especially
So
because
we can be
there's so
more
much
focused.
else on TV to watch right now.
Yeah. So that'll keep us a little bit more focused. But yeah, cannot wait for that. The few changes that this video thing is going to go through is we're going to bring in, of course, Jessica Jones when that's on, and we're also going to bring on Agent Carter during the Shield hiatus.
Yes.
Yes.
And on Legends of Tomorrow.
And Legends of Tomorrow.
Yes.
Flash.
We have both of those shows to look forward to at the mid.
Yeah.
Is Legends of Tomorrow, is that running like a limited run during the hiatus of Arrow and Flash, or is that like running?
I don't think they've announced yet what they're.
They haven't announced. It's set for early 2016, which suggests like that's in the period where Flash and Arrow would be on hiatus. So it definitely seems like Legends of Tomorrow is the hiatus show, and I
I mean that's like the what Marvel set up with Agent Carter, and that seems like the most logical thing. But I mean, it's a little bit weird because I mean with Agent Carter and Agents of Shield, it literally just takes over the time slot.
Right. Yeah.
But that's a little different here with the CW and
also
with 2 different shows.
It makes sense for Legends of Tomorrow to be the hiatus show because it allows them to do that without having to worry about the continuity of 3 different shows
at the same time.
I mean, I imagine.
Well, I think Legend of Tomorrow is going to kind of put itself pretty far apart from the others. It's going to take itself outside of the regular timeline.
Yeah, it involves time travel.
Yeah, because it involves time travel, so they don't have to worry too much about the continuity of the other shows anyway.
And that's probably for the best because Flash has already screwed up the continuity for these shows. We don't need a 3rd one trying to play around with it.
So yeah, that's kind of what we're going to talk about here with Kat. Now we're still going to talk about Arrow, but Kat is avoiding spoilers for Arrow, so we're going to give her an exit here and give her a chance to say goodbye to everybody. So
bye.
Thank you for joining us, Kat, for your first one of these, and hopefully you'll be a fixture from now on.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
Okay, we'll talk to you later, Kat.
Later.
Okay, so Kat's gone, and that means Arrow discussion is on. So this episode sees Sarah and Laurel returning to Nanda
Parbat.
Nanda Parbat.
Yes.
Not making sense. Nanda Parbat. And visiting Malcolm Merlin, the new Ra's al Ghul.
Already a much better Ra's al Ghul than the last one.
Much more sinister and devious and stuff.
I really loved Malcolm Merlin fighting Nyssa when they introduced him. It's like it was like they were sparring, but she was like, I wasn't holding back, and then he was like, I wouldn't expect you to, or something, like that. And
yeah, so I mean, we got to see a lot in Nanda Parbat. I mean, we got to see an explanation of Thea's madness. Yeah. It seems to be that the cure is to kill the one that killed you, I guess, that before you got revived, which means that the best way for White Canary to be rage-free is just to murder Thea.
Which is and Thea's not going to get to murder Ra's al Ghul, so it looks like neither of them can be rage-free.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Which is interesting because I wonder if Sarah's full of rage, I wonder how that will play into Legends of Tomorrow and stuff, since she's going to be one of the main characters. Unless they find a way to cure her before then, which might be because in Legends of Tomorrow she's the White Canary.
Yeah. And we also, we thought that Constantine was going to play a part in her revival. She's already been revived, and we haven't seen Constantine yet.
Yeah, it turns out the Lazarus Pit could just do it all by itself all along, which I was like, it's kind of a cop-out. Arrow likes to do these cop-outs. I mean,
but this could also be bringing her back, could have been the Lazarus Pit. Fighting the condition that she's in could be Constantine.
Right. So yeah, that could be. But it was funny because I was like wondering, well, she's already dead. She's been dead for a while. And the Lazarus Pit did it, and they were like playing it off like, oh, well, the Lazarus Pit's never been used to do that. I don't know if it can do that. And then everything, and then it does because you know it's going to.
We also got, in this episode, we had a appearance by a metahuman named Gambit. I mean, Jeremy Tell.
Gambit. Yes. Apparently, Damien Dark hires a metahuman from Central City to go after Arrow and crew. And his metahuman power is he can turn his he can take his tattoos and turn them into actual objects, deadly objects, in this case, playing cards.
The coolest thing we got out of this wasn't this character himself. I wasn't too interested in this character himself. Yeah. The coolest thing was Damien Dark's interaction with him. Like when he used the playing card to kill other people.
Like, that was like the best scene. Again, this is why I'm loving Damien Dark as the villain. Because here you have this metahuman, and he's standing there, he's thinking he's a badass because he has superpowers, and he has this superpower, and then Damien Dark's just like, well, just like scares the shit out of him. You know, he's like at the end of the episode, he's running away from Central City, and he even tells the Arrow, I'm not scared of you, I'm scared to hell of Damien Dark. And it's like and it was like just this really cool scene of like Neil McDonough again, you know, reasserting himself as like the just this bad villain.
Dum Dum's creepy older brother.
Dum-Dum's creepy older brother. Yeah. Love it. I just love that scene. And of course we got the scene where he went after Felicity and Mr. Terrific. The guy's name. But did you see that when he was showing like Felicity his inventions, and he had like, and he showed her like the Mr. Terrific tea sphere that he made.
Yeah, I saw the tea on the sphere he was showing her.
Yeah. I was like, oh man.
So why is there a big T on it? It stands for terrific technology, or it stands for technology.
Technology.
Even though I work for Palmer Industries, there's a giant T, and rather than a giant T on it.
Yeah, I know, right?
So we still haven't gotten any kind of this is like anti-Shield in that we haven't gotten the answers for well, we already know, of course, that that the Atom is still alive. Yeah. He's just shrunk, but we haven't gotten anything on that yet. And this is, like I said, this is like anti-Shield. This is like where Shield's been giving us like, we're like, oh, so this is going to be the mystery of the season. Nope, solved in the first episode.
Well, like I said, like they're building up towards Legends of Tomorrow. These were okay, to be perfectly fair, both of the episodes this week were just lead-ins to Legends of Tomorrow.
Flash and Arrow, yeah.
Because Flash,
they're like the new origin stories for these characters, like, you know, Snart's origin as a anti-hero versus a villain, and you know, Sarah's origin as a feral,
as
a feral canary,
as a reborn former, you know, Sarah's rebirth, and her becoming the White Canary, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so both of these episodes were very heavy lead-ins for that series. And so it's safe to say, since Ray Palmer is a big part of Legends of Tomorrow, he will get his own lead-in episode pretty soon, I'm expecting.
So we won't have to wait the whole season, just maybe to the mid-season.
Maybe to the mid-season, because I think he's one of the only characters left, unless they're going to like introduce Rip Hunter into one of these shows as well. Oh, they still haven't, and they still haven't done the episode with Hawkgirl either, in either of these. So they still got like a few lead-ins to do still.
Yeah. Where do you think, if Rip Hunter comes in outside of Flash and Arrow, where do you think he's going to come in? Flash or Arrow?
Oh, that's a tough one. Flash, I think, because Flash deals more with time travel and stuff.
Yeah, I think so too. It fits more naturally into that.
Yeah, definitely.
Where I could see like maybe Hot Girl and stuff coming in more in Arrow.
I could see Hot Girl like coming in more in Arrow, but I don't know, because she appeared in like the season finale of The Flash last season for like a brief second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So that seems to suggest that Hawk Girl is already living in Central City. So she's probably going to pop up on The Flash instead.
She could, but then there's also just, they all cross over. So
yeah,
they didn't even cast Hot Girl when they filmed that scene. So, so we don't know. But yeah, that was a big tease for the whole DC TV universe, I think.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yep.
So we'll have to see how that goes. Do you have any other thoughts on Arrow this week?
Not really. What was that? I was trying to think. Was the flashback story is?
That's him. Him interrogating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about
on the farm. Where now, like, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, you're a billionaire playboy that's been on this island. We're going to make use of your skills by having you hold a gun to people's heads while they farm drugs.
They farm drugs for us.
They're not using them to scout parts of the island or do it's just like the shit that anybody could be doing.
I gotta admit though, this flashback story is, again, it's a lot better than season 3, because it's not like some ridiculous running around China like type thing. I don't know what the hell was happening with last season. It was just like this ham-fisted attempt to link the flashbacks to the main story in like the silliest way possible, because it
wasn't just the flashbacks, it was the whole of season 3.
It was the whole season 3, because it was like in the flashbacks they learned of the Omega virus, and then as soon as you learn of that, it's like Ra's al Ghul suddenly has that virus.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah.
Arrow, stop. So I guess we're back to this. I don't know how anything happening in the flashbacks is supposed to relate to the main story, or maybe it's not for once. Maybe it's just
going to become addicted to the cocaine heroin hybrid.
I know. Maybe the flashback is just there to contrast who Oliver was then versus who Oliver is trying to be now.
It could be, yeah. Because we're guiding him towards the point of being a killer. Because when he first came in season 1, he was like a killer, you know?
Yeah. Season 1, Oliver was just killing people left or right, and he didn't even think twice about it until like people start being preachy at him about it. Then he started thinking about it.
So we're kind of seeing him being developed as a more ruthless character.
Right, yeah.
In the flashbacks. But I don't know. I feel like they just they had a flashback structure and now they don't know what to do with it, so they're just kind of...
Like I said, the flashback story, it's pretty much an adaptation of the Arrow Year 1 comic book series, which was written to flesh out Oliver's origin. Because the original origin said he went on an island and had to survive and then came back. And the Year 1 added the drug runner thing to kind of flesh out that origin and make it more interesting. So it looks like they're just doing that.
Yeah. Now we get the part where he meets Lara Croft.
Yeah.
And their origins crossover.
Rise of the Green Arrow. Yeah, right. Pretty much.
So that's pretty much it for this week's discussion. We're going to be back next week for TVE versus Marvel and DC. This was episode 3. Of course, you can check out our earlier episodes on our YouTube page. You can check out our site, TVEnthusiast.com, where we have our podcast, The Weekly Set. We have features constantly. You might want to check out my comic strip. I have a comic strip up this week that has Flash in it. It's kind of I'm poking fun at heroes in the comic strip. But I use the Flash for part of the humor in it. So yeah, check that out if you want. Check our Facebook page. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. I am at Tyson Gifford. Will is at Voxel Hero. You can check out both of us there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So send us comments, send us mail, whatever. Keep it social. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Good night.
Good night.